Invariably, when you read or watch a review, the reviewer that's reviewed it has only had that item for a couple of days. They're compelled and driven to get that review out as quickly as possible, which means they've had limited exposure to whatever device they're looking at. The Valve Index is a VR headset that I've had for over 6 months. Consider this a long-term review, and let's get into it. So I've got hundreds of hours in this device. More of those have been dedicated to Elite Dangerous than I am willing to admit on camera. And I'm also in the extremely fortunate position that I've got myself the Oculus Quest, the Rift S, as well as the Valve Index. Now, generally, I recommend the Oculus Quest. It's the best value for money. It's a dedicated standalone headset, and it does now have PC tethering and hand tracking enabled as well. That said, I have a confession. The Valve Index is most definitely my daily driver. Unless it's something explicitly on the Oculus store, it will be the headset of choice that I pick up. And that's because it's just good. The visuals in this headset are absolutely stunning. It's got slightly more washed out colours because it's omitted the OLED display in favour of an LCD panel that has got a 3 sub-pixel stripe. Now what this means is it's done a bloody good job of eliminating screen door effect, and the visuals are sometimes pretty damn close to being photorealistic. The headset overall has got fantastic build quality, and the shout-out feature of this headset, without a shadow of a doubt, has got to be the over-ear speakers. And speakers they are most definitely. You can't call these things headphones. It makes the process of getting the VR headset on your head slick and quick, no faffing around with additional headphones here, and it improves the comfort levels because you haven't got that clamping force on the side of your head, and the audio quality is just amazing. The directionality of it is absolutely incredible. It definitely adds to the overall ambience when you're in a VR game. It helps with that immersion, and the mic quality on this headset's pretty good as well. It's good enough for me to be able to record YouTube videos and not have to use a separate microphone. It does an excellent job at eliminating the sound that are coming from the over-ear speakers, which it almost certainly must be picking up. These guys are coming towards us, and slip the punch and go for the counter. Ooh. Really nice to have seen Valve invest in not just the visuals, but the audio input-output devices on this headset as well. The overall build quality is fantastic, and the microbial foam that they've used on the face gasket and around the back of your head is really comfortable. There is absolutely no need for any VR cover replacements or anything from AMVR. Here, replacements available on the Steam store as well. It's quite a heavy headset. It actually feels heavier than the Oculus Rift S, and that is quantifiable in terms of the actual weight of the device that's quoted as well. But it definitely feels far more comfortable. It feels like a premium product. There's no creaking, there's no give or movement in any of the panels on the device, and it's got that nice slick kind of glass looking front to it that you can pull away that reveals the trunk. Now, I've personally not really got into modding this headset, not big time modder myself, but it's nice to see that they're encouraging that participation from the community that are buying these devices as well. It's got pass-through cameras that do nothing more than pass through video to you at the moment, albeit that video is pretty good quality, and actually it's got It's got a feature where rather than using the boundary of your play area, whereas you get close to the boundary, actually starts to pass through what it can see in the environment. Actually, I feel like that's kind of what we would expect in the next range of VR headsets, rather than there being this sort of mesh that appears. You can actually start to see your environment, which is a nice feature as well. That feature is disabled by default. You do have to switch it on. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the 120 Hz, 144 Hz capability of the panels as well. Clearly you'll need some horsepower to drive this. I use an RTX 2080 Ti and I leave mine in 120 Hz all of the time. I cannot even begin to describe to you how much difference this has made for VR sickness. Just the slickness of the overall movement of the thing as well really helps deepen the immersion. The graphics are clear and quick and sharp. Things as simple as Beat Saber just look fantastic in 120 Hz, as do things like Elite Dangerous, which is more than playable on a 2080 Ti at this refresh rate. Really not very much to not like here as well. Knuckles controllers, lots of controversy around these. 11 billion comments in various subreddits about the thumbsticks breaking. I have had no such problem with mine, and they have been robustly used. I am not overly gentle with these things. I think the overall build quality, again, much like the headset, is absolutely fantastic. Really impressed with that. The individual finger tracking and the pressure sensors on there, complete waste of time thus far. Not seen any games that really make use of it. There's games that do the individual finger tracking, but it doesn't particularly contribute to the game or the gameplay in any meaningful way. The device that kind of wraps around your knuckles, I think hence the nickname of Knuckles, which is clearly housing the sensors to track this thing, does have the added benefit that if you do clonk a wall, you've got a bit of an air gap between that and your hand. If you do clonk a wall, these things are robust, they don't break easily, and all of the triggers and buttons all feel quite nice and premium as well. It feels crisp as you move these things around, and because you've got the Lighthouse 2.0s, if you get the positioning of those lighthouses correct, the tracking for this thing, I mean, it's not huge differentiation, if I'm being honest, from the Oculus inside-out tracking. The implementation they've done on that Oculus really is very good, but it is a little bit better, and you do notice it from time to time. Certainly where you've got your hands behind your back, you get continued tracking there, and if you get the location of the lighthouses right, occlusion is extremely rare. It's not bad in the Oculuses, to be fair. Your hands are in front of you 90% of the time, but I definitely notice it more often with the Quest and the Rift S than I do with the Valve Index. The racket system on the head strap's great. Really easy to get that adjusted comfortably. If you're using the headset between multiple people, it's dead easy to get that transferred from person to person. The top head strap very rarely move or pull. It's, you know, the comfort really is very good. They really did invest quite a lot of time in this. Integration into Steam is fab. Can play Oculus games, but you've got the clunky process of using third-party software to do that. Generally speaking, game compatibility is pretty good as well. There is the odd game, like Bridge Crew is listed as being compatible, but it's clearly doing some sort of emulation of Vive handsets. You do come across the odd game. I think Gorn is like that a little bit as well. Generally just takes a little bit of time for you to work out the right button for you to press to do a particular thing. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but other than a couple of odd games, generally the integration is very good. Certainly all the new Class A titles that are coming out certainly have got a native Valve Index support for them. Definitely pricier than other headsets, more than twice the price in many instances. Is it worth it? For people who have had VR headsets in the past and are looking for the next step up, absolutely yes. As I say, I do normally quote the Quest as my recommended headset For newcomers, the Rift S certainly is not a bad investment, but being in the extremely fortunate position that I am of having all three of those headsets, I can categorically tell you, if I can use the Valve Index, I will use the Valve Index. It's more comfortable, the visuals are better, the overall device feels more robust. It's a truly brilliantly built, fantastic headset that is well recommended. Now, the fly in the ointment is following the Half-Life Alyx announcement. Getting hold of these things is like finding unicorn. They are out of stock absolutely everywhere, and the coronavirus outbreak in China is not going to be helping the cause there. Is it worth waiting? If you've not got a VR headset, you can do no VR at the moment. Absolutely not. If you're looking for the next upgrade, then I would recommend hanging on. So 6-month review in, I've had no faults, no problems, stunning visuals, 120, 144 Hz refresh rate, no VR sickness. There's lots to like there, guys. 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommended. So there we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe. As always, I hope you're really well wherever in the world you are, and I will see you in my next one.